Hello and welcome to JN Healing. I am JN, and today I've got a really exciting challenge for you. Yes, you can see my child in the background playing with my spine. Um, we've got a really exciting challenge that we're going to do, and it's pretty much we're going to wipe out as many of our triggers in the next 21 days as humanly possible. And we're going to do it from all different kinds of themes, from children, money, relationships, adulting. We're going to go over all kinds of different triggers that people might have, as well as, major traumas, right? Um, so this is going to be a big one, and it is perfectly, if you're watching this right as I'm putting it out, it's perfectly in time for Thanksgiving, for the holidays, when you tend to see family and triggering happens a lot more often, just because family members, they really know how to get you, don't they? They know how to push your buttons. But if your buttons don't even exist, they can't do it. Sometimes I found that if my buttons don't even exist, my family members get like more irritated, or sometimes they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful that you're like not a crazy person anymore. And I'm like, thanks. Okay. Okay. So first of all, I want to explain deeper on what a trigger is. We truly believe, a lot of us truly believe, unless you already knew this, that everything we do, we mean to do it. Okay. It's not true. Only 5% of our actions are driven by our conscious mind. 5%. 5%. What is happening the rest of the 95% is all running subconsciously and unconsciously. You have no idea why you're doing what you're doing. You can't control what you're doing. And then we take our conscious mind and we retroactively explain to ourselves, no, I chose to do that. Okay. And the biggest pushing the go button on specific actions or reactions is a trigger. Triggers are literally just buttons that you have already pre-programmed in you. If you didn't have the trigger, then it wouldn't bother you and you wouldn't take action in response to those things. And the reason that triggers exist is really a protective measure. People will say, like, oh, you have to delete your ego or get rid of your ego or whatever. We're not doing any of that. I don't believe in that. The ego is an important part of ourselves, but it's there to protect us. The reason that we have an ego is to protect us from old wounds. So it is not here to make us attack others. It's by accident that it happens that way. Now, it's just not the best method because constantly reacting, they're there to protect you from life-threatening situations. So every time a trigger is pushed, you are activating the adrenal glands, you're getting into fight or flight mode, and then you are actually your nervous system believes that you are in physical immediate danger when you are actually not. No one is trying to kill you, right? Typically. But these triggers come up because there's this belief behind it and there's this pain behind it. There is always a pain reason around a trigger. Okay. So what we're going to do with this challenge is complete the processing of any wounds that we might have, put them into a more neutral state, and then you no longer need the trigger. It's that easy. You can do this. This is even possible. Like, we don't have to be like, oh my gosh, I was triggered. You need to stop behaving that way, right? No, it's not about the other person. It's like, why do I even react as if I'm going to die whenever somebody brings up their own beliefs about X or Y or political, or pushing a button that says, I am worthy, right? Or not worthy, or, kids screaming all the time, being very loud. That's a trigger. And you don't have to react to that because it's literally just kids being themselves. They're not actually coming after you. It's just a lot of overwhelmed. So, and yes, children is the first one we're going to do. So that's why I keep bringing up children. Okay. So here's what acting from a trigger might look like. Let's say you are washing the dishes, just a regular old day, and a song comes on the radio. Now, this song was not popular anymore. So, not currently popular, right? Like a Michael Jackson song comes on the radio. But when that Michael Jackson song originally came out, you were going through a really tough time in your life. Or the first time you heard that song, you were going through a really tough time in your life. And now every time that song comes on, you cannot function properly. You get very angry, you get very frustrated, you get very annoyed, you crumble inside. There might be like this pain in the gut of just like this grinding feeling or this guilt or shame just because that song came on. This happens every day. We don't know it. We don't know why it happens. We don't realize that it happens, but it happens to us all the time. And it's because we are teleporting ourselves back to the time when that original event occurred like that. It just takes us back and we don't even know what it is that we're really upset about. We just get really irritated. So that's one way it might come into your day-to-day. There are certain things you're like, I know this is a trigger for me. I just don't know how to clear it. And those things will come up as well. We're starting with the most impactful things. We're starting with the big things. We're actually starting with children. We're starting with tragedy. We're starting with relationships, with money, because let's get those big, more generalized topics out of the way, and then we can make room for subtle nuance. And eventually we'll make room for joy and trust and vulnerability and releasing triggers to just the idea of vulnerability. Here's how the challenge is going to work. Every day, I'm going to post a 3 to 5 minute video on the topic of choice. Then you are going to bring up a memory or a reaction or a feeling, a trigger that you have, and then you'll watch the 5 minute untriggered video. It's the quick untrigger. Okay. Listen to that. Allow that trigger to release, allow that memory to complete itself, and then you go on about your day. Now, if you're the person who has a lot of triggers, or sometimes your triggers are really intense, then you're going to want to get the paid version of this challenge. It's only like $15, but it has 2 additional meditations in there. So if 5 minutes isn't going to cut it for you on that particular trigger, then you can dive into the 11-minute video or the 20-minute meditation. And those will get you into a deeper space and place where you can fully release whatever emotion that is for you. And it also has journaling prompts built into the paid version so that you don't have to think about like, what is the trigger? What is the memory? Those prompts will help you bring up those questions for yourself so that the answers flow very freely. Okay, so that's how the challenge is going to work. And that's the difference between the free version, which is 100% on YouTube. And then the paid version is at courses.jnhealing.com. I'll be linking that in the show notes. And the other piece of this is that I have a really wonderful, supportive Facebook group. And during this challenge, we'll be using the hashtag Untriggered to bring up different celebrations of times where we used to be triggered and now we don't have that trigger. And oh my gosh, how exciting. And we can all just celebrate with you on that. I am so looking forward to seeing you in this challenge. And this is going to be so much fun. And thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.